Rise and shine, nerds.
You're tuned in to the Back Row Morning Show, proudly a part of the Love Thy Nerd podcast network. I'm Radio Matt.
And I'm Mo. We're caffeine fueled and ready to talk your ears off.
This week on the show, it's my birthday.
It's your birthday, y'all.
And instead of ignoring it like I do most years, we're going to follow Mo's lead and make it a big deal.
Woohoo!
October also marks the second birthday of LTN Radio. So we're talking all about birthdays this week. This week, we are recording this batch of shows on my 37th birthday. Now, I'm not a big birthday guy, honestly, but this may change after this week. We're going to examine birthdays. And I realized something while starting to research all this. I don't actually know where most of the birthday traditions come from. Do you know where most birthday traditions come from?
Nope.
All right, well, we're gonna explore.
Okay.
Where all these birthday traditions
I'm gonna learn something today.
come from.
Okay. Oh.
That was a good one. We're getting sued. Na-na-na-na-na. I've been waiting for Mo to figure it out. All right, so what you would like to know, first of all, with birthdays is that they're a completely pagan holiday. And there were quite a few Christians that did not celebrate birthdays for a long time.
Yeah. I did know this.
Yeah. So, we're heathens.
Y'all crazy.
While many cultures developed birthday celebrations separately, the Egyptians were actually the first ones to get the party started. When Egyptian pharaohs were crowned gods, they were birthed. And that means the first birthday celebration wasn't marking the birth of a human, but rather the birth of a god. Another early birthday celebration started with the pagans. Pagans believed that a person was especially susceptible to the spells of good and evil during their birthday. Because that's when personal spirits make their appearance in their lore. So that means you're a bit closer to the spirit world. And if you thought birthday wishes were silly, you might want to rethink that, because that's what all this was about. Trying to keep yourself from getting possessed. The idea of spirits was also a focal point for the Greeks. They believed that everyone had a protective spirit or demon present at their birth. The same spirit formed a mystic relationship with the person and continued to watch over them during their lifetime. By celebrating the day you were born, you recognize the closeness of this spirit. This also supports the idea that birthday celebrations were originally an event to create protection. So that's how they all started. All of them kind of weird and very paganistic or similar.
For sure. Bum, bum, bum.
But today, many people celebrate birthdays in similar ways, but with different motivations behind them. We got birthday cakes, noisemakers, candles on your cake, plus plenty of wishes, maybe a gift or two, flowers sometimes. We're going to go through some of these traditions and kind of explain where they came from. So candles. Birthday candles started with Artemis, the moon goddess. To help celebrate Artemis, Greeks offered her cakes adorned with glowing candles. While these cakes weren't meant to celebrate Artemis's birth, they eventually made their way into birthday celebrations. The Greeks also believed that smoke, I can't get past the word. Smoke helped carry their messages to the gods. By blowing out the candles, you were sending your wishes skyward.
Okay.
Is that pretty cool? That's pretty cool. I like that. That's a pretty neat thing. Noisemakers. While noisemakers might seem like they're meant to add to the birthday celebration, their original intent was a bit different. People would use noise to ward off evil spirits from the birthday person. By scaring away the bad guys, you could prepare for a good year ahead. So essentially, this was screaming at demons. Demons gone.
Screaming demons.
Cake. While cakes have been around long before birthday cakes, Germans started the tradition of cakes adorned with candles, like we mentioned earlier. Sometimes during the end of the 18th century, Germans began celebrating Kinderfest, the celebration involving placing one candle for each year of life. The birthday child would blow out the candles while making a wish. Then we got the happy birthday song. Which for the longest time you were not allowed to sing without paying buco bucks. If there's one thing that lets someone know it's your birthday, it's the happy birthday song. Whether you're someone who loves or loathes people singing your name, it's hard to escape the tradition.
Happy, happy birthday from all of us to you. We wish it was our birthday so we could party too. Hey! Okay.
Did you turned like
What?
New York.
Hey!
Yes, we could party too.
Hey!
Hey! Oh. If there's one thing, sorry, I read that already. So where did the song come from? Well, in 1893, a kindergarten teacher named Mildred Hill composed a tune called Good Morning to All to greet her class each day. And rumor has it that the children began replacing the words with happy birthday so they could sing their beloved song at parties. Leave it to the kiddos to get creative. With the advent of the radio in 1931, the song appeared as a singing telegram on the Broadway show Bandwagon. A small legal tiff led to Mildred Hill's rightful ownership of the song's copyright. Since then, the Guinness Book of World Records has nominated the song as one of the top 3 most sung songs in America. Probably correct on that. And what was funny is her family, once Mildred passed away, her family really got greedy with the song. Like, really were like, if you're going to use it, you're going to pay us money. Despite the fact that it really has become like a cultural thing. Like, we all sing it. That's the song. But restaurants had to come up with their own version. TV shows and movies all had to come up with their own version. And because you're creating a new version for a new show or whatever, those versions get copywritten. So everything has a completely different happy birthday song. They were all...
It's bananas.
Dumb. Compared to the original.
Bananas.
And so I don't remember how that ended. It doesn't have it here. But... maybe it expired. Like, eventually copyrights do expire. I think that's what happened.
I don't know.
I think it's 75
Maybe
years.
She just came to her senses.
I think after 75 years it expires.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure the same thing is about to happen with Mickey Mouse. Disney's about to lose the rights to Mickey Mouse. But Winnie the Pooh just lost all of its copyright.
Okay.
And like immediately one of those horror movie companies jumped on it and they're like, we're going to create a Winnie the Pooh horror movie called Blood and Honey.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Because they can, Mo. Because they can.
But just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Thray says, unless Pooh has a red shirt, then you pay Disney. That's a good, probably a good point there. Okay, so let's talk about some unique birthday celebrations from around the world. Okay, in Brazil, you may want to protect your ears on your birthday. Family members and friends will pull on a child's ear for each year of their life.
Jeez!
The hope is that you'll grow old enough for your ears to reach the ground.
Wow. Wow.
If you're in Canada, your ears are safe. However, you might want to watch your nose. In some areas of Canada, the birthday person's nose is smeared with butter. The greasy substance is meant to keep away bad luck.
Don't put butter on my nose. My nose hurts.
My nose is greasy enough.
Right? Going back to Brazil, Oriole just put in the chat, do your ears hang low? Do they wobble to and fro?
Can you tie them in a knot?
Can you tie them in a bow? Can you throw them over your shoulder like a continental soldier? Do your ears hang
out loud? In China, the first birthday is the biggest celebration. Way to butter me up. That's a good one, Thray. That's a good one. All right. In China, the first birthday is the biggest celebration. Friends and family gather around the little one while offering small gifts like flowers and books. A traditional Chinese birthday celebration for any age starts with you and your family eating longevity noodles. Longevity noodle is one really long noodle that will fill the bowl on its own. The long noodle symbolizes a long and prosperous life.
I for real thought that everyone in attendance at the party ate the same noodle.
Everybody find your portion of noodle here.
And I was very disgusted.
It's like a 18-person Lady in the Tramp scene. In Denmark, you might think you're celebrating your country rather than your birth, because on a person's birthday, people surround them with the Danish flag on cakes, plates, balloons, and more. The good news is that this flag decor can be used over and over again for all the birthdays in your home or office, because everybody gets the same decorations.
Wow, interesting.
On the Russia, birthday celebrates you. No. You bring birthday treats into your classroom, and sometimes your classmates and teacher bring you homemade gifts. Some people eat birthday cake, but birthday pie is pretty common in Russia.
Hey, I could get on board with that.
And they also have that ear pulling thing.
Oh, not that.
So you get your birthday pie, but you get your ears pulled, Mo.
And then leave my ears alone.
In Ireland, birthdays are a bit upside down. Literally, on your birthday, someone flips you upside down and lightly bumps the top of your head for each year on the floor. +1 for good luck. This birthday celebration is called Bump to Grow an Inch. If you make it through 21 years of head bumps, you get a set of keys on your 21st birthday to symbolize unlocking the door to your future. So the keys don't even technically do anything.
This sounds completely Irish. Totally Irish. That's why they're all a little loony. They've been hit. Listen, I can say it.
I can say it because I've been there.
I can say it because I'm part Irish.
That's not how that works.
It's totally how it works.
All.
Jeez. Mind your own Irish business. See? Exactly.
Gosh.
Oriole says it started as a drunk guy messing with someone. It totally did. Absolutely.
There's one. He was the drunk Adam of this situation. It was one guy just doing that to his 3 sons. So it's tradition. Nah, I'm doing Russian. Sorry. It's tradition. I'm not going to do an Irish accent. Bumping his head, and then his 3 sons did it to their 3 sons.
Exactly.
And it just spread out over all of Ireland.
Yeah,
this
the
is
O'Connors.
the tradition.
Yeah.
All right. Vietnam. In traditional Vietnamese culture, everyone celebrates their birthday on the same day. The day, known as Tet, is the first day of the year. Infants turn 1 on Tet, no matter how close to the day of Tet the child was actually born.
This is like the giver.
In modern Vietnam, many people celebrate on their true birthday while also celebrating on Tet. What's not to love about 2 birthday celebrations?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you get it. It's like, it's an Office reference, and you didn't watch The Office.
Yeah.
But in The Office, there was an episode where Jim was put in charge, and it was birthday month, and he was getting out of hand on all these parties he was having to plan. He's like, how about we just do one day, one big party for everybody? And they had like a bunch of food.
That's not fun.
And everybody said they were on board until the end. And they're like, no, this is stupid. This is a dumb idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Mexico, we're going to end there. And this one's probably more familiar to us because we live in New Mexico. Piñatas are a popular Mexican birthday celebration. Children gather around to whack the piñatas in an attempt to obtain the candies and treats within. Some Mexican families also attempt to smash the birthday person's face in their own cake. As family and friends chant Mordida, the birthday person attempts to sneak a bite of cake without getting their face pushed in by the others. So we don't do that part so much, but we do. Piñatas are a common thing here in New Mexico for birthdays.
Yeah, but listen, you went from talking about smashing a piñata to smashing a person's
your face.
and I was like,
You were thinking with a stick, like with a piñata.
why?
What did they do
It's your
to you?
birthday. You get a nose job. I don't get it. That's so mean. Jeez.
Okay, Threemaker says, I had a family that said you would have a sweetheart for every non-blown out candle, much to our childhood horror. So every candle you didn't get out, you'd have one more boyfriend or girlfriend?
So, I mean, it's to Therese childhood horror, but I really could see myself just sitting there being like, I'm not blowing out any of my candles.
lots of relationships, eh? How old am I? 10? It's gonna be a good year. Let it burn.
Somebody else gonna need to blow out my candles or y'all ain't getting no cake. Sorry.
Oriole says, ain't no candy coming out of that nose.
Aww.
What was that? Little kids strategizing to blow them all out, but maybe one. Aw. You know, I can't tell if that was supposed to be like you'd have that many sweethearts at once or in your whole life.
Oh, dang.
Because at once, that'd be a chore. 2 at once would be a chore. I had 2 at once for like a week. And I'm like, nope, not doing this.
Matt speaks from experience over here.
And that was like, I was barely a preteen at that point.
Oriole.
Oh, gosh, Oriole, gosh. Oriole said, I must have always blown out all my candles. That's the darkest humor.
It really is. It really is. He's laughing at himself right now, but I'm not laughing. It's not funny.
Therese says, honestly, it was just for that year. So you'd have that many sweethearts in that year. We were too horrified to clarify. All right. Birthdays. We're heading to our Discord server to read some of the Back Row Buds' best birthday memories.
Aww.
So we're going to go back and forth on these. We got these written
start our
out.
timer over there.
I have not. Oh, thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
I have not pre-read these, so I have
okay.
no idea what to expect. So, I mean, we don't have very vulgar people in our group, but just in case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So our first one's from Silver. She says, I turned 18 in the Gulf of Mexico on a cruise ship, the Carnival Ecstasy. Had spent the week doing things like visiting Mayan ruins and swimming with dolphins. There was a storm overnight, so on my birthday, the ship was pretty empty since most folks were in their room seasick. I don't get motion sickness, so I spent the whole day enjoying myself, a massage, fancy meals, and since it was international waters, I got to go to the casino. Good birthday.
That does sound like an amazing
pretty
birthday.
Good 18th birthday right there for sure.
Awesome. KY Redhead says that there are 2 birthdays she remembers fondly. First, when she was little and her birthday happened to fall on the day of the week the bookmobile came to their neighborhood. We took our usual walk down to check out books, but when I stepped inside, my friends were already there to surprise me. Mom had arranged my party with the librarian ahead of time, and we all had cupcakes and sat and read. That's sweet. And then the second one was when I turned 40 and hubby had coordinated with a Grease-themed murder mystery dinner party without me knowing. All he told me was, pick Rizzo or Sandy and dress up. Every time the doorbell rang, I had no idea who it would be. It was so exciting to see who all showed up to celebrate with me. Role-playing in costume. I'm hardly ever surprised, even by book or movie plots, because I tend to pick up on things that spoil surprises, but I didn't have to pretend not to know for either of those birthdays.
That sounds like a fun birthday.
Yeah.
The role-playing thing.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Mm-hmm. Grease-themed murder mystery. So we did like a murder mystery party. You weren't a part of that, were you? Were you?
Well, I attended it.
You were there? You were there?
That was like my first.
For the Christophers?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
At the church, there was a...
Yeah, it was here. But no, that was the one that Tina threw.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no. Mm-hmm. We had it at the church, but it wasn't a church-sponsored thing. It was for an anniversary.
Okay.
Our friends, the Christophers, did a murder mystery party, and I got to be a senator. I was not the killer, and I ran out of the things I was supposed to do really fast. So I decided to be a drunk senator. And so I slowly started losing clothes or getting disheveled. Not like I wasn't taking clothes, but like I lost my jacket. My tie was gone, my shirt was buttoned wrong. I put a stain on my shirt slowly, just over the night as the hours went on, because it lasted too dang long. I got up all acting drunk, saying, "I confess, I did it. I drank the last bottle of wine," stuff like that. And that was really fun. And nobody would kill me because I kept acting a fool and making everybody laugh. And so I had to keep doing it.
That's fair.
DJJ Shane says, best birthday I've ever had was the one right after I moved from my hometown, Memphis, to Nashville. My wife and I traveled to Memphis for the weekend. What I didn't realize is she had put together a surprise birthday party gathering for me at my favorite restaurant. She invited all my friends who I had begun to miss, and all my family. Felt very celebrated. Funny side note, I had been calling a few friends to hang out that night, and they all said they were busy, and I was feeling really bummed. That's one of like the best and worst moments for people that are like, you have a surprise party coming up, and you have to lie and say, I'm sorry, I can't hang out with you.
Yeah.
You have to make them feel like, I didn't really care about you as a friend. And now that you're gone, I really don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Only for it to be a ruse.
True story. Oriole Jedi says his the best birthday I had was either 2014 or 2015, can't remember which, but I was heading to my parents' house after work to have dinner because my mom and I share a birthday, but I had a huge surprise because my parents went and picked up my kids without me knowing from their mom's house. I opened the door to my parents' house, and my kids were sitting there waiting for me. It had been a rough birthday up to that point.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment. Lark says, my best birthday, I've had a few good ones, but turning 18 was fun because my sister and I threw a tea party thing. She said, I forget the full name of it, but it was intentionally absurd. And I had friends over in fancy clothing. My twin made lots of little pastries and such, and we had a good time. Fancy, absurd tea party.
Sounds very Lark.
Sounds very Lark.
Paper Panda. For one birthday, my mom set up a dress-up tea party for me and my friends. It's the only time most of my friends ever came to my house. Other than that, I can't remember any specific birthdays other than the one we had COVID, and I got to pick up my husband from the hospital on my birthday. I always plan something I think will be fun, and it always gets screwed up by something. LOL.
All right, BrotherMod says, when I was young, my parents rented the arcade at the mall for 90 minutes before it would normally open, and I got to invite my whole class to come. An attendant was there who just doled out tokens and let everyone play whatever they wanted for as long as they had. Turtles in Time got beat that day. That was a good arcade game, too. That birthday was fun. As I turned old, I was tricked into going with a friend and his wife to a diner that was secretly full of friends and family. Then part of the surprise festivities included a projector playing a video with a bunch of kind words and sentiments from a whole diverse crowd of internet people. It is impossible for me to articulate how touching that was, given the inadequacies of language. That birthday was and continues to be a tremendous encouragement to me. Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. We got to be a part of that, and it was really cool. Mm-hmm. That's all I had here, but let's check for more just in case more popped in, as I think more did pop in. Polls and input. Looks like Uno Mas from Tad Hall. He says, in 2019, I took my best friend on a trip down to Arizona.
You said breast friend.
My best friend. Oh, I'll focus on me. My best friend on a trip to Arizona during the week of my birthday to see a mutual older friend who was instrumental in both of our lives. It was my first trip longer than a day to get to our destination. We made many stops along the way with our camp stove and tent as our mobile hotel. Getting to see the beauty of Zion, Grand Canyon, and Bryce Canyon along the way were breathtaking, and the time spent with the friend was priceless. I will always remember that trip as a defining chapter of my life. Yeah. First good road trip is a defining moment for sure. You have a best birthday memory, Mo? You can think of it while I share mine.
Go for it.
All right. My favorite birthday happened when I was a kid. I still remember it, and I pretty much judge every birthday that I ever have against it. I was turning 10 And we had this place in our town called Big Cheese Pizza. And I loved that pizza, and I had it all the time because we had a trade deal with the radio stations that we owned. We had a trade deal for advertising. Instead of them paying us money to advertise, they gave us coupons for a free large one-topping pizza. So, like, that was the pizza we always had every Friday. Most of those were given away as gifts, but they just gave us, like, tons of these coupons to give out. And so we took a lot home. And every time my parents were like leaving for the day, like they would go to Lubbock every other weekend, and half the time I wouldn't want to go because they would never do anything fun. They're going up there for specific, boring adult stuff. So they leave me at home and give me one of those cards and say, all right, here's your lunch and your dinner. Order the pizza. But anyway, they also had a giant arcade for the 90s. Like, it was an old Blockbuster, I think, at the time before they went in there. And so, like, this thing was just lengthy.
Yeah.
And so it was all full of just tons and tons of arcade games. We had this big party. I want to say there was really not that many other kids there other than the ones at our party. I don't think we rented the whole thing out, but it was just like the perfect night to have it, whenever night it was, because just nobody came that night. It's like a Tuesday, I guess, just no one was there. And so we pretty much had the run of the place. I won 2 stuffed animals out of the claw game that I never won anything out of that night. I gave one to my mom as a thank you for putting the whole birthday party together. It was a blast.
Nice.
My friend's dad fell asleep in the loud noise of everything. He just conked out. He also fell asleep during Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. And he was right underneath the speaker. That dude might have had narcolepsy.
I was about to say, there may have been something wrong.
But anyway, I remember nothing went wrong at that birthday party. It was just the best, the most fun that I had. The game that I remember the most was a arm wrestling game where you were like arm wrestling a robot arm that got, harder and harder as you faced opponents. And I nearly beat it while cheating, of course, using your other hand to pull it down. But I nearly beat it, my 10-year-old self. It was good. It was good stuff.
That's awesome.
What about you, Mo? Favorite birthday?
So my 13th birthday is really the only birthday that I can remember being surprised on. My dad took me out for the day. We went shopping, and he took me to lunch and just made a big deal about me for the day. And it was just he and I, which was, that in and of itself was awesome. I remember just being over the moon that it was my dad and I for the day and nobody else. But then we get to the house and walk in, and my mom's standing in the kitchen and has a cake there ready, But as I walk past, we had a formal living room and then more of just a regular living room that everybody sat in. Okay. The formal living room, my mom called it her prayer room. Like, nobody was allowed to go in there except her. It was a big deal. A big deal. So the prayer room was off of the living room, and the living room, dining room, kitchen were all connected. Okay. So I'm walking through the living room, just past the prayer room, and just as I pass the prayer room, everybody jumps out. All of my closest friends, and surprise. And of course, I was totally surprised because, again, they were in the prayer room and no one was allowed in the prayer room ever. Yeah. So there were probably 20 people that jumped out. And also, this is the first time that I can ever remember being confrontational with anybody, because there were our neighbors up the street tried to crash my birthday party, and I wasn't super fans of those people. We weren't really close friends. And so they pull up and I'm feeling all big and bad. 1, because it's my 13th birthday. 2, because I had just gone shopping and bought the cutest outfit. And 3, because all of my closest friends were there. And so they pull up and they're trying to crash my birthday party. And I was like, excuse you. Why are you here?
Back up.
This is my birthday, and I don't remember inviting you.
No cake for you.
And then I had a friend later tell me, you realize you didn't invite anybody to your birthday, right? Like, it was a surprise.
Yeah, you invited no one. We invited people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've only had one surprise birthday party. It was my 16th birthday party.
16
And
candles.
Daedra was the one throwing it for me. Okay. Mm-hmm. I found out about it well beforehand because my buddy Jeremy, who sat next to me in biology, had his like school planner open on his desk and in big bold letters wrote Matt's surprise birthday. And I'm like, what's that? And he flips it over. He goes, nothing. So like, okay. And I did not tell Daedra until years later that I knew that was coming. But it is so hard to pretend like you don't know people are going to jump out of the house that you're going into.
Yeah.
It is so difficult.
Yeah.
Because when you know it's coming, you see the 18 cars parked 2 blocks down the street. You know that the lights aren't always off when you walk into her house. Like you see every little thing that you might not notice right away when you're not expecting it. And I had to fake this. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody's here. Oh my goodness. I am so surprised.
How did she not know? How did she not?
I'm a good actor.
I have pulled off a couple very successful surprise parties that I'm quite proud of. So
I was a part of one of those, I think.
yeah.
But anyway, it was a thought that counted, and it was a good party.
You wearing pants? Sippy's gotta pee. Yep, I'm wearing pants, standing here in front of about 25 of our closest friends.
Why wouldn't I be? I don't even do that when the kids are still awake. Why would I be doing it now in the middle of this party?
That was probably the best thing ever because everybody that is standing there like trying not to just bust out laughing.
It is hard. It is hard to stay quiet.
Yeah.
Especially as the moment's approaching.
Yeah.
Like they're coming in, don't talk, don't move. And nobody is capable of keeping their mouth shut.
I know.
Quit whispering. Just stand still. And don't say a word.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. Okay. A big thank you to all the buds who shared with us their stories. And if you are listening and you'd like to join in the conversation, join us at backrowdiscord.com. So this week we are talking about birthdays. And our first 2 discussions were a bit more on the fun side. And I'll admit today's might be a bit on the heavy side.
Okay.
And really, I hadn't planned to discuss this at all. But when doing show prep for the episode, I came across an article that actually opened my eyes to something I think I struggle with that might explain why I've been so down on adult birthdays.
Okay.
And it's called Birthday Depression, or more colloquially, Birthday Blues.
Okay.
It is here's an article on Science of People by Vanessa Von Edwards. So she wrote, I've noticed a very particular pattern with certain people right around their birthday. Their behavior starts to change and they get nervous or even sad. If this sounds like you, I want to tell you, you're not alone. It is called birthday depression, a general sadness or feeling down by a person on or around his or her birthday. Person feeling birthday blues should know that it is normal to feel this way and should be supported by his or her family or friends. But what if the person with the birthday blues doesn't have any family or friends? This is especially common in the elderly, who often spend their birthdays alone. One study of persons age 75 and over found that in the 30 days before and after a birthday, the rate of self-inflicted deaths increased for 75 and older.
Wow.
So, like, this gets worse as you get older. Mm-hmm. The study suggests that people's morale are greatly affected during their birthday season. So let's talk about, like, why that would be. There are many reasons someone could feel down on their birthday, but the most common are these ones. Of course, just aging in general. Mm-hmm. Birthdays can remind us that we're aging another year. It's the official day that we are 1 year older. Even though the day before our birthday, we feel virtually the same. The day after our birthday, we feel virtually the same. Getting older isn't exactly something to look forward to, though, the older you get. It becomes more of a, oh no, I'm getting closer to this. I'm getting closer to... It's like you slowly get to the mindset of, I'm getting closer to death. A birthday is just another reminder you're not getting any younger. So for that one, I don't feel like I have that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something I'm struggling with yet. I might, but like I haven't minded getting older.
Yeah, me either.
Aside from just the general feeling of being older, I haven't minded like aging.
Yeah. I think I'm like Benjamin Buttoning it somehow because I am aging in reverse.
You do look younger today than you did in 2019. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I know I did.
So I saw a specific picture of you. You look like a... No, I'm kidding.
I just want to know what picture it is.
Everything I just said was fabricated.
Oh.
I don't really know if you look younger or not. I don't examine you that closely.
Okay, anyway. Yeah. Benjamin Buttoning it.
Well, don't brag too hard here. Actually, I was kind of stoked when I hit 35 because I felt like the pressure to be relevant kind of subsided, because that's always been my joke, and it's based on a Simpsons thing, is that once you hit 35 you're no longer relevant.
Yeah.
The society only cares about what people 18 to 35 think.
Yeah.
And after 35 nobody cares.
Yeah.
And that was always my joke, is I'm not going to be relevant anymore. And that was even my post when I turned 36. That was the year, I'm sorry, not 35. When I turned 36 I was like, 36 officially irrelevant. So that was last year. And that year made me feel better because I felt like the pressure was off in a lot of areas. Specifically, and for those of you watching on Twitch, for this reason. I don't feel the need to have to like shave my head completely cue ball bald anymore because I am the age that people who go bald have the horseshoe haircut. It's like what people do. And I feel fine about it. I don't feel like I look terrible. And it's a lot less work than having to shave my head every morning.
That's fair.
And yeah, I've enjoyed this change. So aging, that's out. I don't think that's it. High expectations. Sometimes we are disappointed by not having expectations met by a birthday party, celebration, gifts, or even just the day. And we'll cover there's more of that later.
You don't have to cover that one.
Has that been one of the ones you struggle with? That's one that I struggle with. Like, I'm going to be honest. There were several years in a row where I was expecting my birthday to be a great day, including a year I really thought I was getting a surprise birthday party.
Yeah.
And then I was not. There was nothing. And I don't know what convinced me that was happening, but it didn't happen. And also not to dog on my wife, because it's not just her fault. It's her whole family. My wife's family's pretty bad at gift giving. Pretty bad. Christmases, birthdays, pretty bad. Like, pretty bad. Like, one of the most notorious things I remember was for Christmas one year, after complaining for years that I'm hard to buy a gift for, and I'm like, I'm really not. I like a lot of things. You give me anything themed that way, I'll be happy. I'll be over the moon.
I remember this.
Tina said, make me a list of things for
remember.
Christmas, and I'll look at that. It's like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I decided to make it big, like a long list. That way it would still kind of be a surprise, whatever I'm getting. You'll still feel like you're surprising me. I won't just be expecting, one of these 3 things. I made a list of like 15 things. Like, I would love any of these things. And instead of getting me something from that list of things that she knows I would like, she used it as inspiration to get me things kind of like the things that I would like, but I won't actually like. And I was so confused on Christmas morning because she did that because everybody,
That's
who got me a gift
Tina,
used it.
though. Why
I
are
was
you
so
confused?
I didn't know that was Tina at the time. This was very early on in our marriage.
Was it?
Yeah, because I had been celebrating Christmas with him for years before we got married. But this was early in the marriage part.
Okay.
And I just didn't really understand. And I'm not really the kind of person who really puts all that much stock in the gifts. I get it. But that one was like, you told me to make a list. And I'm so confused why there's nothing from that list here. And so many things not on that list. But anyway, that's the kind of people they are. And I get it. They're actually not really big party people. They don't really celebrate birthdays all that much either. And that's kind of rubbed off on me too. But anyway, all of that aside, there were several years that I was a little let down by things. Like, or the day itself just went terribly. Just like, supposed to be a great day. I complained about my burrito. It's like that. Just little things going wrong all day long. I'm like, this is supposed to be a good day. And it just feels like it's going sideways every chance it can.
Have a good day.
So I really feel like that was a deal for me for a long time. So now I think part of it might be more just like, I don't have any expectations.
Yeah.
And so therefore that's taking away some of the excitement of it for me.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
Like, as one of your best friends for how many years now? Like, the reason I've never done anything for your birthday is because you've been such a, like, party pooper about your birthday. Bruh. Like, I love birthdays.
I know.
I would have done something big if I would have ever known or thought that you... I'm really kind of ticked at you right now. I really am.
I also don't want to be a bother.
It's your birthday.
I understand. TJ said, she said, bruh.
I do have teenage kids, so,
Bruh.
Bruh.
All right, next up on the list of reasons that you might have the birthday blues, lack of accomplishments. Feeling unsatisfied with the accomplishments of the previous year. Like, so it's kind of with the aging thing, but it's like another year has passed. What have I done? What did I do this year that has forwarded me as a person?
You know what helps with that? Having children. Have kids.
I'm not sure that necessarily defeats it, because what if you're looking back and like, I wasn't that great of a parent this year? You know what I mean?
That's fair. Man.
Yeah. This one can get you. This one can get you.
Depressing.
I told you this was going to be the sad topic of the week. I feel like maybe there have been years that I've struggled from this. I don't feel like this year or the last year I did. I feel like I've been pretty accomplished these last few years. I feel like I'm doing stuff. And good stuff.
You doing stuff, bro.
Doing good stuff.
Yeah.
Social pressure. Have you ever felt like all the birthdays in the movies look really good? Or maybe you see your friend's Instagram picture, Mo, and see how cool, Mo, their birthday parties are, Mo.
I will throw you a cool birthday party now that I know that you want a cool birthday party.
So if we decide to spend our birthday alone or with a few close friends, we might feel like it's not good enough. Now, haven't you said that you're kind of, I don't know if you were saying it about birthday parties, but you're saying about parties in general that you're like, I'm less of a fan of the big 1,000 people at my house, more of the small intimate party.
As of recent, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that might.
It's a seasonal.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was
season
gonna
of
say,
your life, and it might change back.
That may change,
Yeah.
but yeah, as of recent, I have wanted to keep my circle close.
I feel like I wouldn't want 1,000 people at a birthday party anymore. You know.
So I got to tell you, like our friend Rafer.
I haven't talked to him in a long time.
He just had his 35th birthday just a couple weeks ago. Listen, homie knows how to throw a party. Okay, he rented out Blackwater, which is our local coffee shop here. They blacked out the entire thing, made it into a club. I am not even kidding. There were club lights, like strobe lights. They had a DJ. They had like a photo booth.
Wow.
I for real felt like I was in my early 20s in a nightclub. And I got...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There weren't a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of people. And in that moment, I was like, oh, this is the kind of party where you want a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You got like a whole dance floor and a DJ and you got food and you got drinks and you got stuff. Like, you want people.
Yeah.
And there really weren't that many.
Right. That would not be the kind of birthday party I would want. Because that was never my scene.
Yeah.
I was never a big partier. I'm much more the let's get a handful of people together and play board games all night kind of thing.
That's fair. That's fair. To me, though, it was fun because it was totally my scene. But
Sure.
it was also not fun because they were not, like, Jenny and Rafer were my only people there. Everybody else, like, I didn't really know them. And so I'm like, I can't really be myself.
Worst. Yeah, that's the worst. All right, let's see. Less excitement. When we were kids, birthdays are awesome. That's true. When we go to, we get to party, go to the movies, eat cake. When you're older, birthdays are, for some, And when our birthday parties, adult birthday parties, aren't as exciting as our kid birthday parties, that mismatch can cause holiday blues. It's more like a problem with nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's like how we think, all the TV shows and cartoons when we watch are still going to be great today, and we watch them and they're not great.
Yeah.
It's like back then we had amazing parties, but that's because we didn't have to think about all the logistics or anything. We just came and had all the good stuff.
Right.
We didn't even have like relational things of people that we didn't like, or like the neighbors trying to break into your party, crash
real.
your party. You didn't have anything to do with that.
Crashers.
Everything was just pure fun.
Yeah.
And of course you're a kid, and so everything's more fun when you're a kid too.
True.
Especially giving all them tokens. Get yourself a pocket full of tokens at an arcade.
I got a pocket full of tokens.
You know what? We're coming back. When I'm coming back from LTNCon,
Yeah.
that last day of driving is going to be like, I have 2 days of driving, one going up the first day and the one coming back the last day, that are going to be like, I want to say 12 hours of driving, like a lot of driving. It's all day driving, which I've done many times.
Yeah.
But
It's just exhausting to think about it.
But I've also learned that halfway through that day, you need to take a couple hours and do something.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do, because I saw this when I went on this little trip with my mom, but I didn't get to experience it because I only had a couple, like 30 minutes here in the mall. But in that mall, they have this massive, and I mean the largest I've ever been in arcade, called Round One. And that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be stopping at this mall, eating a lunch at Chick-fil-A there, and going to this arcade for an hour.
So you're not traveling back on a Sunday?
Just having a blast. No, it'll be Monday that day.
Just making sure.
Anyway, that's gonna be my own little private 1 hour birthday party.
Hey, there you go. Way to do it.
All right, let's see here. Milestone birthdays. Having, you had milestone birthdays as a kid, sweet 16, 18 years old, 21 years old. Then you get the 30, and that's still fun. We haven't reached the 40, but I'm feeling like that's not going to be as fun. 50 is going to be a big party, but that's like the solidifying you're an old person party. 60 is like, next time you have a milestone after this, you're going to be a senior citizen.
Do you know none of my milestone birthdays were like...
None of them were blowouts? You didn't have a blowout 16th birthday? You didn't have a sweet 16?
No.
That's a bummer.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even drink on my 21st birthday. That's like a rite of passage, right?
Can I...
What?
Cannon was conceived on my 21st birthday.
So we know what Mo drank.
That's it.
Wow.
That's the biggest milestone I got.
Does Cannon know that?
Yes, he does, actually.
Oh, Lark said my 21st birthday was in 2020.
Oh.
That's a bummer year to have a milestone birthday.
Yeah, it is.
Man.
I almost died on my 18th birthday.
I feel like I've heard that story, but reiterate it.
My roommate and I were living together, and we went swimming for the entire day and had way too much alcohol, and I almost drowned.
Yeah, you probably should have done that.
Yeah.
And lastly, on the list of reasons that you might have the birthday blues, less love.
What's love got to do with it?
You're turning 4 years old. Wow, great job, buddy.
Oh.
Turning 18. Finally, you're an adult. Yay, celebrate. It's your 45th birthday. Congrats, whatever. As growing adults, you may notice that people pay less attention to you and care about your birthday much less.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And I feel like that's what I've been throwing at you all these years, Mo.
You really have.
And I apologize. I've been a downer, and I know this. I'm not... Look, I don't have many flaws. But being a birthday party pooper is definitely one of them. Mm-hmm. And I do apologize for that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I've experienced not all of these, but a few of these each year. And I think at this point, I don't feel like I have the birthday blues. I feel like I'm just at the point where the birthday blues have affected me so many times over the last few years that I just don't see really that much. I don't attribute that much specialness to the day.
That's fair.
Kind of a don't get my hopes up, I won't have my hopes dashed kind of thing, which is not good and not healthy, and I understand that. I just think I'm finally making those realizations.
You just made me so sad. I have failed you, but it is only because I thought I was giving you what you wanted.
I thought this was my gift to you.
You hate birthdays. That's the thing. And so I've never made a big deal of your birthday.
I'm not really asking for that.
Broski. Good grief. Birthdays are my thing. And here's a fun side fact for anyone who's listening. The only time Matt and I have ever fought or argued was over my birthday. That's
like a real
legit argument.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That is the only time in how many years of us being friends?
Mm-hmm. And I was wrong. She was right and I was wrong. And I eventually realized that it was me being a party pooper again at the end.
So you being a Cooper.
But, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where were you going with that? Or were you just trying to drag me through the mud?
No, I'm not trying to drag. If anything, I feel like I need to be dragged through the mud because I have failed you.
I see. Nah, I don't see it that way, Mo.
Well, I do. Okay? Sheesh.
So this article doesn't really go too deep in ways of how to get over all this junk, but I don't think that was the point. I think it was more of a just kind of realize this might be why, so you can address it. Mm-hmm. And realize that you might have friends that are are struggling with this kind of stuff, and that might be why they're downers.
Yeah. Have a real conversation with your friends, guys, because you could be letting them down without even realizing it. And you're going to kick yourself.
So this week we are celebrating birthdays. Now, as I made clear a couple times this week, I'm not big into birthday celebrations as an adult. I just haven't been. While Mo, on the other hand, very much so.
Yeah.
We've been total opposites in this. 100% opposites in this for as long as we've been friends. It's like the only thing
that we are opposite in.
Yeah. We're very similar in almost everything else. Mm-hmm. This has been the one thing. Like Mo goes full birthday month. Or has. What?
Hold on. I just had a realization. I'm
frightened.
Friend of mine. I love you. However, you have made me adjust over the last few years how I celebrate my own birthday. Because I've begun to think, Matt he's wise. I trust him. Maybe what I am doing is juvenile. Maybe it is dumb. Maybe I need to rein it in a little bit.
Oh, you're making me sad.
And for the last several years, I've not celebrated
It's
my
true.
birthday the way that I typically would
I
have.
just attributed that to you changing because you've changed with Christmas.
I have changed.
You changed with, no, I mean, as a person, overall, your whole life, because you changed like how you celebrate Christmas. I just thought you were changing how you're celebrating anything.
The way that I changed celebrating Christmas was for the better.
Right.
Because I'm celebrating it longer.
Right.
The way that I changed celebrating my birthday was not for the better.
But I
because
thought
now
it
I'm
was.
just like,
But I thought it was for the better. So I saw them both as positive. I'm sorry.
you're a bubble popper.
I admit this, yes. I've spent all week admitting this. I'm in the wrong about birthdays. I admit it. And a lot of people think like me. I've given her no end of grief over the years about this. I've been a party pooper. But this brings up a larger discussion based on a specific passage of the Bible that I think it's misused many, many times in many, many ways.
Yes.
So we're not just talking about birthdays here. In fact, Love Thy Nerd kind of can get this accusation thrown at it as a whole, like in many different topics and avenues, putting away childish things. And so like you think of playing video games, that's a childish thing. You think of collecting toys, pop figures, action figures, whatever, that's a childish thing. Playing tabletop games, that's a childish thing. Dungeons and Dragons, so childish, make-believing that you're some character, like it's costume time at the preschool. All this seems very childish. Celebrating your big birthday party with friends and cakes and piñatas when you're 35 years old, such a childish way to celebrate your birthday. You should be having a intimate dinner with your spouse at a steak restaurant or something. You know, these steak and wine, that's what they call them, right? Steak and wine restaurants.
I have never heard of a steak and wine restaurant.
But I mean, seriously, especially in the church, we struggle with this idea of when you get up, when you grow up, you're supposed to be grown up all the time, not have any fun. Like if you're going to be playing, you're only playing when you're playing with your kids. Not you can't just go out and have fun yourself. You can't just play video games yourself.
How sad is that?
It's a very sad way to live. They're very sad people.
Yeah.
This verse comes from 1 Corinthians 13:8. It's actually in the middle of the love chapter. Where it says, love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now, we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part that I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. Okay. So to wrap that up in its context there, what this verse is really talking about is completely different than like not having fun in quote unquote childish ways as an adult. A lot of believers interpret that to mean no more things associated with childhood. So no more video games, no more comic books, all of that you're only allowed to do when you're young, and you're not allowed to do that or enjoy that anymore as an adult. But it really means no more childish thinking, no more childish reacting, no more childish, what are the words it says? Reasoning, childish reasoning. How do you react when you're a child?
I would say out of control.
Yeah. Emotions on your sleeve.
Right.
You don't have really a concept of self-censoring, self-monitoring your reaction, self-control, all those things you're still learning, all those things you need to learn. And so every child really goes through this when they're young, is You think, you act, you talk, you reason like a child. As you get older, everybody puts that aside, right? You don't know anybody who reasons like a child, talks like a child, thinks like a child.
Every adult that I know,
we're all responsible,
completely mature, self-controlled, reasonable. Yeah,
including us. We've never reacted childishly.
Never. I don't respond out of emotion.
I didn't even know you had emotions.
I know.
Yeah, Oriole says, yes, completely reasonable in all situations.
Absolutely. I've never thrown a temper tantrum as an adult. Why are you laughing at me? Stop laughing at me!
Oh, gosh. Okay, so with the way this verse is really laid out, it's telling us that we need to grow up. Not in a way of grow up with, what we do, but in the way that we grow up with how we think. It's how we think and react. We are too often ready to basically snub out anyone else who has a differing opinion than us as children. I'm right. Always. I don't care what we're arguing about. I'm right. And all the children think that way. And that's why there's always fighting. My sons cannot agree on a single thing any day. It's always nonstop arguing. And it's never their fault. Okay? And that's how it's going to be. What kills me is I know so many adults that are the exact same way. 2 of them are my brothers. Nothing's ever their fault.
Shots fired.
They got fired
Oh.
because the manager was a jerk. Not because you punched him. This happened 3 times in my family. But because they were a jerk. Look, I've talked about my brothers many times. They're not changing yet. And so their story is their story. This is who they want to be. That's who they're going to be.
You want to act like that? I'm going to share it.
But it's like, I don't understand. Like, I get acting childish. I get having moments where you are just incensed that you cannot think rationally. That's normal. That's a normal thing. I don't get people who don't understand that's not something you should be doing. That is something you should be learning from and trying to curtail. And that when you sober up from your adrenaline rush, you would come to that realization of, oh, I messed up and I need to make this right. So many people don't come to that conclusion ever. So many people always think they're justified in that action. And that's the kind of crap that we're supposed to be fighting against in this verse. That's what this is talking about. Stop being the childish adult. Not stop being a fun adult. Not stop having fun in your adulthood. And not stop playing like a child. Enjoying life as a child. In fact, the Bible says, I don't have the verse, but it's like salvation is like becoming like a child and coming into me. Like, that's the mindset we're kind of supposed to have. That kind of blind faith, that blind trust that we have in like our parents. We're supposed to have in Jesus, in God. In this faith. The essence of childhood is not demonized in the Bible.
Right.
And so stop misusing that verse.
I honestly think it's the opposite.
Yeah. We're supposed to be finding joy in life. God made this world a place for us to enjoy and grow in. And part of that is the things that make you laugh and the things that make you connect with other people and the things that give you joy. Now, yeah, anything can be done in an unhealthy manner. Anything can be done addictively or wrong. Like, I'm not saying you're absolutely justified in spending, 18 hours a day video gaming as an adult.
Because it brings you joy.
Right. No, you have responsibilities. You have things to do. Like, obviously, everything has to come with the caveat of as long as you don't overdo it. But if you have, a couple hours a week where nobody's home or whatever, and you just need some me time, those couple hours a week, and you have that carved out, and you want to play some Destiny 2, go for it. Mm-hmm. You want to read a comic book while you're on the toilet, go for it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You want to enjoy a movie, go for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with experiencing the joys of this world in that manner. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as it's not something against God, something against your faith, something that hurts your faith, what's the harm?
Yeah.
And so with Love Thy Nerd, like, we get that accusation of, you know, this is you play video games with people. Mm-hmm. You go to gaming conventions and things. Like, where's the, like, are you passing out Bible tracts or something? No, you're not doing that? How are you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
For God here. No. Obviously, you're missing something. All these things are a way to connect with people. And it's that connection that's that open door. Mm-hmm. A new open door from someone who was shunned by the church because they liked childish things. Mm-hmm. And that's a big fight to take up. Mm-hmm. To fight for the fun and joy of childhood against the people who think that those are the childish things we should leave behind. Mm-hmm. Because when you really think about it, when you think about, like, the typical person who, you know, liked Dungeons and Dragons or liked video games or liked something that their church, someone in their church, maybe not the whole church, but maybe just someone in their church said to them, this is a childish thing. You shouldn't be doing this anymore. This is sinful, or, you know, probably sinful, or probably will lead to something bad. It's usually like an adult talking to a teenager. Mm-hmm. In their most vulnerable time. Right. In the time when they're just still trying to figure out what God is to them and their faith walk and their faith journey. And they only know a few things solidly about themselves at that time. And one of those things might be, I really like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Like, this is a fun way to connect with my friends. I get to be creative. You know, it's a fantastic story. It's making me want to, like, write stories. You know, it's all these things spreading out. It's all these positive things spreading out from this one love that you have. And you're being told that thing that you know about yourself, that one of the few things that you were positive of, I'm going to tell you it's sinful and you shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. Of course you would want to leave. Mm-hmm. Because you're being told, if this is who you are, God doesn't like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In your formative years, your formative times. And so that either results in you leaving the church and blaming the church for that leaving, which I would understand. And even as you grow up, you're going to have that seed, that painful seed planted in your heart, that rock sitting in your heart that was put there by someone who thought they were doing the right thing but didn't think it out. Mm-hmm. And someone needs to break that rock apart. Mm-hmm. But it'll stay there forever if you let it. And so that's what Love Thy Nerd tries to do. It tries to turn that hardened soil into usable soil again. Not just planting seeds, but tilling that soil to make it ready for something. Right. Letting people know that, no, there are Christians that are still doing the right thing, that are still spreading the good news of Jesus, that are still living a faithful life, and also play D&D, or also like video games, also like going to gaming conventions, you know, like anime, all these other things, all these things that are cultural parts of the world that we have made advances in. And because really, you know, a couple years before LTN, I didn't really know how many board games were actually out there and how specifically gigantic they can be. Yeah. And like, my eyes have been so opened in these last few years, just like how vast the world of tabletop gaming is. Mm-hmm. But like, we just have to get over that idea as a church that we can't enjoy the childish things. We can't pursue the fun stuff still, because they're not really confined to childhood. That's, I guess, the misnomer. That's the problem. So we confine them to childhood mentally because we enjoyed them when we were kids, and we get to enjoy them less as we're adults. And so because of that, we correlate them with childhood.
Yeah.
But they're not really childish things. They are things. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we got to enjoy them as a kid should imply that they're mostly family-friendly things. And if you can't enjoy a family-friendly thing as an adult, I don't understand the disconnect, especially as a Christian.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And so I don't know what I'm saying. Stop doing it. I don't know how to end this. Just quit. Quit doing this. Quit riling me up. It's my birthday. It's my birthday week. Quit riling me up.
So I got to share something that I kind of had a realization as you've been talking. But I think that I'm not only Benjamin buttoning it as I do my hair flip, physically on the outward, but I also think that mentally I'm kind of Benjamin, and now I can't say it. Benjamin buttoning it. Okay.
That doesn't work mentally because his mind didn't change. His mind didn't go backwards. His mind went forwards.
But I'm just saying. Good grief. I think you've still got some issues to work on over there, Matt.
I'm going to correct your lore, okay?
Listen, I had a friend tell me, I talked about the video of me jumping through the 3 inner tubes.
Right, a couple weeks ago, yeah.
And after that, I posted that, I had a friend tell me, and this friend is younger than me, but she was like, "You are so adventurous." And I just kind of like, thank you. Because I would have never described myself as that. But it got me thinking. And the older that I get, I think the more adventurous I become. And so I think I'm doing things in reverse. But sitting here listening to you and then like pondering over this verse and what it means, I'm having the realization that throughout my childhood, being adventurous and kind of doing fun, over the top, crazy things was very much shunned. It was looked down on.
Yeah.
That was acting out of control. If I was adventurous, I was not self-controlled. And those two things don't go hand in hand. You can be self-controlled and be adventurous.
Yeah.
And I think the older that I get, the more that I'm realizing it. And the more that I'm realizing there are a lot of things that are enjoyable in life. But it requires you to step outside of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. It requires you to be adventurous. And for me, it's kind of a sad pill to swallow, thinking that had I never had that realization, had I never had friends that would have pushed me and been like, "Come on, you can do it. It's not a big deal," in safe ways, obviously, I would have been missing out on such a fun part of life. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad what the church can do to people. Good grief.
Yeah. And lastly on this topic is that I'm sad that society in general takes the fun out of adulthood or redefines it essentially as drinking and partying. And my reasoning for that is I'm going on this trip, right?
In your favorite rocket ship?
There's going to be a couple nights where I'll have a few hours, and I thought, go see something fun. Go do something fun. Mm-hmm. You Google fun things to do at night in X city. Mm-hmm. The top 10 things are this nightclub, this bar, this lounge, this. It's all drinking. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, look, I get it. People like to go have a good time. I understand that. Is that all they're doing? Like, is that all these grown-ups are doing in the world? Because, like, you think about, like, Big Bang Theory and stuff like that, where their characters are very much adult geeks. Mm-hmm. and their idea of fun was gaming and, geek things, nerdy things. And like, but that was always a joke. It was always a joke that they were nerds. Everybody else was normal. Going out and partying, getting drunk all the time. I'm like, oh man, that's so sad to me.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is fun. Especially when you have a whole group of people to do it with. That stuff is a blast.
Yeah.
Playing games, online, in person, all that can be a whole heck ton of fun. And build massive friendships. I don't really want to build friendships around going to the bar and getting drunk with people, you know? It's not so much I'm judging them. It's more like I'm judging our idea of society and adulthood. Not just within the church, but outside of the church too.
Okay, so this may need to be a topic.
It might be.
In a later discussion, because I've got to tell you, that is a whole different mentality of the church, is that, and you're saying it like over and over and over, and I want to throw my phone at you, because you're saying going to a bar or a lounge or whatever equates getting drunk.
Sure.
When that's not necessarily true.
Well, I didn't say getting drunk. I said drinking.
No, you said getting drunk.
I might have mentioned that, but I was saying drinking over and over again.
I need people up in our Twitch to please.
Drinking is the activity. That's the fun for most of these groups of adults. Like, you are going to a bar or a nightclub or whatever, and you're going to dance or do whatever else, but you're also going to be drinking. That's part of it.
You may have a drink, or the person beside you may have 7 drinks.
Right.
It's a whole other topic that we are going to have to like put a pin in, and we're going to have to talk about it another time, because we just don't have the time. But that is something that I think that's another mistake that the church makes, is that one drink equates drunk.
No, and that wasn't my point necessarily.
Well, all that I'm saying is I can have one drink. I can be in an environment that serves alcohol, but to anyone looking in, it's not just one drink. Sure. I have now gotten drunk.
Sure. Again, but that's not what I really meant. I just meant that that is just what we consider fun as adults. It's only that. We can't do games. Game nights aren't fun anymore. Like that's what we see. And I'm not saying this. I'm not even necessarily saying like real people that you know. I'm saying society. I'm saying TV shows, movies, everything. That is what is equated as we're going to have a fun night tonight. What are we doing? We're going to the bar. We're going to the club.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's always what it is. It's
Sure.
never anything else.
Sure.
Occasionally it's like they're going to a baseball game. But even then,
they have a beer.
Even then it's because of the beer.
Yeah. I mean, and for whatever reason, we do equate like adulthood to alcohol. Like that's the big thing. I'm an adult. I get to drink.
I told you I was going to be going to that arcade on the way home from the trip. I'm going to go to this arcade, which a lot of adults go to. And that's why they also serve beer there.
They serve alcohol.
Why? Yeah. This is mostly kids, right? I don't understand. I remember it was a big deal when Chuck E. Cheese started serving beer.
Okay, I'm bringing it all back around. Ready? And I'm tying it with a pretty bow because it's your birthday. And here you go. You ready? This is why. This is why places like that, places that are a little more of a kid environment, but is also is also geared towards adults, serve alcohol, because it requires us to get out of our head a little bit to be able to have fun, because we are fed this idea that as adults we can't have fun. As adults,
you're right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
As adults, we have to have it all together. We have to be the rule followers. And so, yes, there is alcohol that allows you to not fully be all together. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying. But
I mean, it does.
That allows you to kind of step out and feel a little more free, get out of your head, and then enjoy the environment.
Right.
There you go.
Oriole says,
I tied it all together.
The more adults drink, the more money they'll let their kids spend too.
That is true.
the less acute your senses of responsibility get.
Well, and not only that, but also because, like, when my kid is seeing me buy drinks, and I can't say, no, we don't have any more money. So it's like, all right, well, I just got a beer, so here you go.
Paid $12 for this no-name brand thing.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Anyway.
All right. That did get away from us, and I apologize. That's my fault. That's all for today's discussion. The whole week of birthdays, and thank you for celebrating with us. Also, the rat is quite creepy sober.
It is so true.
Oriole. Yeah. Oh, you're funny.
Yeah.